Welcome back. Today's discussion actually comes out of a previous video that I did about Trump hatred, and it comes out of a discussion in the comments about one of the many allegations against Trump. Now, I got to admit that Donald Trump is a pretty easy target, because I don't agree with the way he says a lot of things that he says and some of the attacks that he does and things like that. He's a little bit rough around the edges. He says what's on his mind. He says what he's thinking. He's not real diplomatic about it. So you know what he's thinking. You know what he wants to do, in that sense. But there are some things that, aren't really necessarily said or said in the way that they are said. So I understand. He's a pretty easy target, pretty easy person for people to, especially if there's all these allegations being put against him, to not like him. The one allegation that I wanted to touch on, because it seemed like it was a big deal, so I wanted to look into it and research it a bit, and that was that he spent an exorbitant amount of money on golf and spent too much time golfing. And the allegation is 144 million. I never actually did see the final total amount on it, but that's the allegation, 144 million. The first thing I was kind of thinking of, is like, well, what is that, in comparison with other presidents? If this is an exorbitant amount of money being spent on golf and time playing golf. So I started looking at it, his predecessor, Barack Obama. So I'm looking at that, and according to what I was seeing, I actually came across a watchdog group that actually critiques presidential, what they call non-essential to the public spending. So vacations, golf, and things like that. And they're criticizing, politicians on both sides. And basically they're considered a conservative group, Judicial Watch, but they're criticizing, anybody and their spending. So anyway, so apparently according to them, for Obama, apparently it sounds like it took them years, that the Secret Service records of expense, those type of expenses, are public record, but you got to formally request them. And in requesting the documents during Obama's time, apparently it took them years and at least a couple major court battles to get the information released. And so what they ended up finding out, from the discussion that I was having, was that again, Obama spent 90 million in 8 years, and Trump allegedly spent 144 million in 4 years. So apparently 2017, this watchdog group finally got more of the information on Obama, I guess, and it went up from 90 million to 114 million. So as I'm looking into this, I got some questions about it. First of all, one of the questions is, businessmen are known to do a lot of their business on the golf course, a lot of their negotiations, a lot of their communication and things like that. And, Donald Trump is not known as a slouch. Apparently he works like up to 20 hours a day. He's like, works all the time. He's pretty much a workaholic. So, it's kind of like one of the allegations being made here is that he wasn't doing his job, and then he was neglecting it, and he was golfing all the time. So one of the things is, a round of golf takes 4 hours. So if Trump's known for working 20 hours a day, he's got another 16 hours that he's working. Plus, he's probably working while he's golfing as well, if in fact, which is not clear, that he golfed every time that he was at a golf club or did a full round of golf even. According to Judicial Watch, in 2017, when they finally got what I think they thought was the full amount that Obama had spent in that area, they said that they have had a concern about presidential, non-essential to the public spending for, it sounds like, over a decade. So it's not, the one thing here, one of the things that I found out is that no matter who the president is, the other side is attacking them on this golfing, vacation, or whatever spending. So it's not a Trump-only thing like it's being made out to be right now. This is something on both sides that are concerning. One other thought and thing that I was thinking about in that is that no matter who the president is, no matter what side they're on, they've got to have Secret Service. They need to have protection, or no matter what side they're on, they're not going to survive. Somebody's going to take them out. So I think it is a good thing to have Secret Service. And one of the things I came across was apparently they get paid about $187,000 a year, which I think it's a good thing that they get paid a good amount of money to protect the president of our country, no matter who the president is. And another expense in going on these vacations, things like that, apparently Air Force One costs somewhere around $180,000 an hour to operate. And then apparently it kind of sounds like that during one of Trump's big golf trips or outings or whatever, apparently the Air Force One needed like a major engine overhaul. So it's not really clear if that amount of money is actually added into the expenses as well. But apparently it sounds like that was like close to a couple $100,000 a year to fix that, do that work. Anyway, kind of the bottom line of what I'm seeing here is like, this is really misleading and really deceptive to sit here and point to Donald Trump as the only president that anybody has ever had a concern on their spending for golfing and vacations and things like that, because apparently, according to digging in and looking at the facts and the evidence and everything, it's like a lot of presidents have been accused of that. And actually, kind of interesting too, kind of found out that apparently Woodrow Wilson is the president who played the most golf, and then I guess Eisenhower was after that, and then John F. Kennedy was third in line after that, and then after that it comes down to Donald Trump and Obama. I think it's a good thing for us to make sure government isn't overspending our tax dollars, but I also don't have such a real problem with a lot of money being spent on protecting our president either, because like I said, they wouldn't survive. Somebody would take them out if they didn't have the Secret Service protection. And then, after I went through all this, one of the things that I thought of as well that I thought is kind of interesting, like right now, the opponents of Donald Trump, those that are making the most attacks on him, just passed a bill that's basically a climate bill, a socialist, communist, one world government, all the agendas that these people have, that was previously, from what I'm understanding right now, previously the Green New Deal that couldn't get any votes, and then the Build Back Better, which didn't go through, and then now there's this, quote, inflation fighting bill. But now it's after it's passed, it's being called the climate bill, which it is. Something like $758 billion. $758 billion. Even if it's true, Trump spent $144 million. That's a drop in the bucket compared to the $758 billion, and then the trillions of dollars that were spent on the whole COVID thing, where the American people got pennies out of it to supposedly help with losing their jobs and not being able to work and all that kind of stuff. Trillions of dollars and hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're focusing on this $144 million. I think that's like a distraction. And the problem is, whether you like Trump or not, even if he did spend too much money on that or whatever, does that justify lying about him and being deceptive about him to try to get people hate him more and to get people to turn against him? I think that's absolutely wrong. That's absolutely wrong, no matter who it is, to treat a person like that. God tells us that we're to love our neighbor as ourselves. We're to love our enemies, and we're to pray for those who persecute us. So again, the answer is always pray, share the gospel, and make disciples. Disciple people into knowing what God says about following and living for Him and His ways.